And we are live. Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of Jason Hebert Live. And it looks like we did not lose the Facebook stream. All right, cool. Facebook is pretty strict. If you don't get going, I think you get 9 minutes from when you schedule it, you lose it. So I've been trying to stream to Facebook as well as Twitch and our normal YouTube, of course. So if you're not familiar with the show, what we typically do here is we interview the families, or I should say the loved ones of missing persons or unsolved crimes in an effort to help spread awareness, get justice for them, and just get the word out there and try to bring them answers. Pretty much everyone we talk to has questions on their loved one's case, whether it be where they are, if they're alive, or if they know that maybe there has been a murder that takes place or something. It might be who is responsible, or it might be multiple people who is responsible. So you never quite know exactly what's going on in these cases. So what we do here is we try to get directly to the source to get you guys answers. And versus me just sitting there and telling you my version of a story, I actually interview the people who are directly, we get it straight from the horse's mouth. And as you can see, the show is live and interactive. So if these are cases that you are familiar with, and you might be saying, wow, I've been waiting to ask this question for years, but I never could get it answered. This is where you can get it done. We can't get to every question, of course, because sometimes there are hundreds of them, depending on how busy the chats get. But we try to get to as many as possible, and we try to get at least a question or two from each guest, or most guests. We do have a special guest co-host today. Many of you are familiar with her. This is about her, I don't know, 5th or 6th one that she's done. She always does a great job, and she's always highly requested to come back. Our good friend, Crystal.
Hey guys, I'm back.
She's back. We need some theme music for you. For Crystal's one of the few that comes back consistently. There's a few of them, but a lot of people will come and be like, I want to co-host. And then after like 2 or 3 shows, this happened more so earlier on in the early days, I'll kind of find that they don't want to do it. They don't want to tell me, but they're more like, oh no, another one. It's just so much. As you know, Chris, there's so much. It's not only is it emotionally and mentally taxing, but there's a lot that goes into prepping for these, and they don't even see the back end where I have to spend hours promoting it and all the groups, and a lot comes with it.
Yeah.
But Casey, you do a great job. Sarah says hello, Chris, and Casey says have a nice day. Thank you. Thank you, Casey. What did you say, Chris? I interrupted you, sorry.
That you do a good job.
Oh, thank you. I try. Typically, we get a very good response, so I'm very proud of that. But there are some that are better than others, and everyone has to realize this is a live show. So when you make mistakes, you don't get to redo them. Yeah. I'm not some like professional broadcaster. I'm just a dude sitting next to a colored fake brick wall in his house. So I try my best. But thank you so much to everyone who does say kind things and helps us tonight. Let's kind of go over some of the basics. This one is a doozy, guys.
It's intense.
Yeah, so we are dealing with a friend of the guest. I originally spoke to the sister, but she for a couple of reasons, we'll let Mel tell why that is. She wanted her friend Mel to come on and tell the story. I believe she knows more about some of the specifics, and some people are better, more comfortable coming on camera than others, so that's totally understandable. But tonight is about the murder of Ray Hanish, and I'm going to read the initial email that came, or parts of it, because there's a lot to it. Cher, who is the sister of Ray Hanish, is extremely thorough in a good way, so we got quite a bit on the case. Crystal has read the email as well. Yeah. And it was originally ruled not a homicide. It was how was it worded? Yeah, natural causes.
Natural causes.
Which is kind of crazy once we kind of go into the specifics that it would be murdered that. And eventually, and so I want to be clear. So Garrett Kirts, who many of you know as, I don't know what he's officially listed as, if it's person of interest, suspect, or whatever, but in some ways he is believed to be a possibility to be the Delphi killer. Many people say no, many people say yes. We are not making any hard accusations on the show. Everything's alleged. However, it's also alleged that he confessed to this murder, and pretty much nothing happened. So that's the reason for this case and why Cher wants us to come forward. Cher, S-H-A-R, she is in the chat with us. So if you have any questions, she should be there to help out. I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions for her, so please bear with her. But look at the comment on screen.
Oh, thank you, Clyde.
You're one of Clyde's favorite co-hosts. All right.
Sorry, I wasn't looking at the screen.
It's okay. But let me go ahead and let me. Oh, we have a new member, Casey. Oh, awesome. Thank you, Casey. All right. It looks so good. I brought Casey on as a member. Go me. She's the one that said, you look good tonight. Look nice tonight. Thank you so much, Casey. I appreciate that. And thank you to all the members. And Allie Johnson, new member. Thank you. Thank you so much. So let me go ahead. I don't want to leave Mel, who is our amazing guest. We were speaking to her earlier, and you're in for a treat, guys, because she also goes by Cold Truth, and she'll go over some of the reasons for that. I'll let it come from her words as to some of what she does, but she's absolutely incredible. So I don't want to leave her waiting too long. So let me go into the email real quick that was written by Cher, and then we will bring on Mel. So, hello, Jason. This is an email I received about 2 or 3 days ago, right after we finished the case. I believe it was the Jason Oling case, Jason Oling interview. So my name is Cher Prentice. My brother, Ray Hanish, was killed on March 13th, and in quotation 17th, 2019. Garrett Kirts confessed to killing my brother after he was arrested for killing Nicole Bowen. We were told Ray died from natural causes until 6 months later when the prosecutor called my mom and set up a meeting. At this meeting, we were told that Garrett Kirts confessed to the detective in Newton County, Indiana, that he killed my brother during a, quote, rough sex act, and it was an accident. When my mom bristled at this and questioned him, he told her this: with this lifestyle your son lived, something like this was bound to happen. How sick is that, Chris?
That's horrible.
Unbelievable that someone would say something like that, particularly the other guy in the act. You know, how odd is that?
And it's a death. You can't take it.
It's incredible to say that something, it's disgusting, I should say, to say something like that in general. But when you're the other person in the act, it just makes it even more odd, right?
Yeah, what does that have to do with anything?
Yeah. And but we could quote take Nicole's justice for our own. So basically he's saying, yeah, you're not going to get any justice for your son or your brother, but because I got, charged with Nicole Bowen's death, just take that one as your own. That's not really how it works, though. I mean, maybe some people would be like, yeah, he's going to jail anyways. But it's like, you hurt one of my own. I want you to get charged with that one. I want you to know that you're paying for that. Right, Chris? Is that how you feel?
Yeah.
I understand you hurt someone else, and I'm glad their family got justice, but I want my family to get justice, because you don't get away with hurting someone close to me and just, whatever. It's not how it works. So I totally get it. And that's why I read this email. I said, we got to do this one, Chris.
Yeah.
Because he was going to go to jail for a long time for that, and it wasn't, quote, cost effective to extradite Garrett to White County, Indiana. Not cost effective. That's not a good enough reason. We feel like they judged my brother because he was gay. My brother was so much more than that. He was kind and good. He was a licensed practical nurse who worked really hard and was loved by all his patients. He was a nurse in all aspects of his life, really. He took care of people less fortunate and made people better people just by knowing them, including myself and my family. He would literally, quote, give you the shirt off his back, as the quote goes. His good name has been tainted by the way he has been portrayed by White County. My brother deserves justice, and I know that if the roles were reversed, he would speak for me. I would love the opportunity to come on your channel and be my brother's voice. My friend Mel wrote the synopsis below for Ray's petition. I'll stop there because instead I'm not going to read that. Instead, I'm going to let Mel come on and tell her story. So I would like to introduce Mel. Mel, I just want to say I am so sorry, of course, for what you guys are going through, and welcome to our show.
Yeah. His family and Nicole's family are extraordinary people. Their story alone is like a whole podcast of how these unfortunate events that brought them together as families and just the beautiful relationship that has bonded these two families. Nicole was actually... They've been told this by investigators that Nicole was at Ray's house. And I have some doubts about that. But so for me, it's speculation.
Right.
For them, obviously, it's not. It's firsthand information. But just to see those two women and Corbin and Riley, Nicole's children, who are now being raised by Carol, like come together. They go to Dottie's house. They play at her lake. Like they are so close. And I think that's just an amazing, I'm sure they would love to have both of their children here, undoubtedly. But just something that positive that came out of it is the relationship that they have and that I get to have with them. But
yeah, they sound like amazing people. I've spoken to you guys for a little bit, not a ton because we just kind of met a couple of days ago, but right off the bat, I said, "Oh yeah, these are some people I need to try to help best as I can because you guys are amazing, and by all means, Ray seemed amazing, so I'm gonna pretty much do anything I can."
Yeah.
Which starts, of course, with getting the story out there. So, how do you want to? You're obviously familiar with how these go. So I'll leave it in your hands. Do you want to tell us a little bit about Ray in general, and then lead us into everything? I'll kind of let you. I don't know exactly how Cher wants things presented, so this is a little bit tricky as to how we present it. So I don't know how you want to.
I do.
Start it. Okay.
I got Shark. She'll be fine. But yeah. So Ray. Okay, so here's one of his quotes, which I now have memorized. And he shared this on his Facebook, like about me, and it said, "Be careful as to not leave permanent scars on someone else's heart." That's who he was as a person. Yes, he was a gay man, and one of his friends, I talked to one of his friends, John, and they had kind of dated. Ray he wanted the white picket fence. He wanted kids. He wanted a husband. He was a licensed practical nurse. All of his patients, they're in his group. I mean, he was loved by, I just found in newspapers.com an award he got just today. When I was searching through trying to find those articles for you, I think I sent it to you, but just like a notice for nurses that are exceptional. He was just a kind, generous, thoughtful person, naive a bit. He just wanted to help so bad that sometimes he didn't seem to consider the risk of who he was helping.
I think that's very common with people who are just so good people. They don't even consider the bad because they're just so concerned about helping people around.
Exactly.
A lot of people.
Yeah, I think Chris studies psychology, so she's pretty familiar with that.
Yeah, and that's just who Ray was, and I actually creeped on. I mean, I went all, I'm going to say that I was working with a private investigator, but I did go undercover, if you want to call it that, on Grindr. I'll explain that later, but I did find Ray's profile, and
that's a dating site, right? Grindr.
It is for gay men.
Okay.
And his profile, I saw a lot. I was trying to find Garrett Kirts on there, and that'll be explained in a minute. But I found Ray's, and it couldn't have been more polar opposite than all of the other ones that I found on there. It was like, are there any good men out there? That's what he was searching for. I haven't spoke to one single boyfriend or friend, and some of his friends, I do a podcast. I never intended to do a podcast, but I got pissed off one day that I was doing all these write-ups and sending all this information to other people, and they were just dropping the ball and not doing it. And so I was just like, screw it, I'll do it myself. And so that's how I started. I just wanted to research, and I wanted a podcaster to pay me to research. That's what I wanted. But you know what? You have to go with it. And so I did. And except for my girl CJ, I see her comment right there. But she has been very helpful with Ray.
Is CJ Rainbow Crimes?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, she's been very active in the chat. She seems cool.
Yeah, she is. She's awesome, and she's been a huge advocate for him. And I used her, her saying it's not a crime to be gay, but it unless you're a murderer, and it's true. And unfortunately, in rural parts of Indiana, it is still viewed as that,
Right.
and that's, I think, played a role in this. But yeah, Ray was just a good dude, just a down to earth, loved joking around. And I had that sweatshirt on and I took it off because I wanted, now no one can see it, but I have my Justice for Ray shirt on.
Oh, sorry. I'll move the. You know what? Well, do you want to answer the question on screen? Then I can remove it so you can show the shirt. Because a couple people joined late, so they're asking.
I do. I have a podcast. It's very new and the editing isn't all that great yet. But yeah, I share their stories. It's very anal. I analyze everything. So if you would like to get every single detail down to a stack about this big of court records, go listen. But it gives you
cold truth, right?
Cold truth. Yeah. And I have a YouTube.
I'll put a link to all your stuff too once we finish.
Thank you. You don't have to do that though. Well, but yeah. Okay.
So what about this? So this whole incident, what do we know about? I mean, you don't have to go into too graphic details, but so we're 100% sure he's being honest because obviously this isn't the most trustworthy guy. So are we sure that Ray was involved with Garrett in some kind of sexual thing, and that's what this led to? We're 100% certain on it because you guys, I think you said you are 100% sure, but do we know? Could it be him taunting and making something up? I mean.
I don't think so. His girlfriend's cell phone was found at the scene, even though the police did not seize it into evidence. The family found it. They had stolen things from Ray's home, including his car. There doesn't seem to be any dispute, even by the prosecutor, that he killed him. The dispute is whether it is a crime at all, according to prosecutor Robert Guy.
So they think this might have just been almost like a David Carradine kind of thing. If anyone doesn't know him, it was not the same exact kind of thing, but more so like rough sex that turned accidentally deadly.
The rough sex act gone wrong defense.
Okay.
Which, I don't know. I found a really awesome, I would love for you to link it too if you can. It's called We Can't Consent to This. Okay. And it's basically just a coalition of people that are sick of this defense in so many different ways as far as domestic violence goes.
Yeah.
And we were having sex and I just, took it too far and strangled her to death.
Sorry.
That happens all the time.
It's an excuse, and it shouldn't be used to take a case down. To me, if you strangle someone, that takes a while.
Yeah, and it's not like, we haven't being a little, I don't know, what's the word, exotic or something. Like, you have to really,
It takes about
that person, and it takes a while. They may pass out within 15 seconds, depending on where you are, but it takes a while to kill someone that way. And to me, at some point in those 4 to 6 minutes, you premeditate that murder. And I don't think that makes it a murder and not a manslaughter. Indiana doesn't have, we're just like murder. There's just murder. And then there's down from there. We don't have like first degree, second degree, third degree. We have murder, intentional killing of another. And then it goes into like other charges. Yeah. But let's start with the profile of him so you can see this dude. So in January, he strangles his girlfriend, Ashley Garth. And the affidavit basically says that it was a fight over a cell phone. Remember that'll come into play here in a minute. And that he strangled her repeatedly until she passed out, back and forth. And he beat her up. I actually have a screenshot of her, which she shared it on Facebook. It was a few weeks after the assault on her, and you could still see the bruising on her. And so, but then again, in later in interviews with another YouTuber, he claimed that was just, you know, her fault, basically. And then we go to March 13th of 2019, and early morning, Ray had been messaging with his sister and his niece. And he had said that he had met someone and on a dating app, and like kind of gave her a little bit of details about that, but not much. They said goodnight, and that was the last time Ray was heard from. His cousin, who was staying with him on Tuesday nights, went, and, you know, Ray wasn't there. You know, he wasn't there. His car wasn't there. And so his cousin kind of like, I think it's his nephew. I'm sorry. It's his nephew. Like stayed for a while, he knocked, and then, you know, he was like, okay, well, he called Dottie, Ray's mom, and then he went on home. And as the couple days go by, no one can get it. That's not like Ray. And it definitely wasn't not like Ray to miss work. And so that's when Dottie knew she had to call. And so they did a welfare check, and they found Ray in his home, deceased. And from there, the family was told that he died of natural causes. They have the funeral. They go to Ray's home, and they walk into the shock of like the next shock of their life, and a series of shock for the next 2 years. Ray had been spring cleaning that week. His home was completely trashed. Ray did not smoke in his home. He didn't allow smoking in his home. There were food thrown everywhere. His TV, his cell phone, his wallet, his car, were all gone. And left behind was a bullet, a cell phone belonging to Ashley Garth. That's why I said, remember that cell phone from earlier that he was trying to get his hands on. And then, it was all just left there, along with cigarette butts, Red Solo cups, you name it. It was a party. They threw food around. They trashed the place. And my gut feeling is that they walked in, they saw the state of this apartment, they saw the way that Ray's body was found, and they jumped to the conclusion that this was a overdose or an accident. I don't know how they could ever get to natural causes, though. But that's what the affidavit said. That was scary there for a second, guys. I got
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I tried to go in and out, zoom in and out here and there. If you're talking about something important, I'm sorry. I go whoop, whoop.
Oh, okay. Okay, now I got it.
I never do it on myself, though. I only do it on the girls because you guys are pretty, not on myself.
No. But oh, sorry. I shouldn't read the chat.
Yeah, sorry. I try to put things up variously, but you don't have to read what's up there. So sometimes I'll do the questions to make it easy for people to read.
I have a question. The whole grinder.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know for sure that they met through Grindr? Did they have like any sort of records on maybe the chats they might have had on the app, or is there nothing?
That's the thing that he apparently confessed to Open Secrets YouTube, and I do have it if you would like me to play it, of what his friend Christopher Mathis had to say about it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Let me grab it.
Yeah, because I'm wondering how they met. Is it
who?
I would have. It's Ray and that other guy.
Garrett Kirts.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
been some speculation about that, since that's really, we don't know for sure. It was seemed to be kind of bolstered when he came on YouTube and said so much himself. But Ashley did work at the same place as Ray at one time. In small towns like this, I couldn't even confirm that it was at the same time, that they knew each other at all. They thought that there's been so many stories, you know how it is. The people just come out of the woodwork and they want to insert themselves in. I mean, it's been crazy. But I have never found any proof, and I research really deep, and I've never found anything to connect them prior. And that seemed to be bolstered by what they all said on YouTube. Like crazy. Who does that?
So a lot of you guys know that my dog is kind of older. He has some kind of scary issues here and there. So I'm going to take like 5 minutes or so because something's going on with him. Chris, can you kind of take over for a few minutes? Okay. So I'm going to remove myself from it.
Yeah.
I lost my train of thought.
Okay, so how they met, you said there's no evidence of meeting on Grindr except what he...
Well, there's no evidence that they knew each other prior to this night. I believe, and that was, like I said, that was bolstered by what you'll hear here in a second, that he stalked him, he sought out men, because there was another man that came forward in the group, and our private investigator spoke with him. And Garrett had done the same thing to him, and that's what he alleges. He did not press charges because I'm sure you can guess why.
Yeah.
Just the stigma that comes with that, and the victim blaming that is out of control in many cases. And I really do think that he did seek him out on there to take advantage of him. I'll just play this if you want to wait for him to come back.
No, let's wait for him to come back.
Okay, yeah.
This second victim of his, what happened to him? Like, what did he say happened?
To Nicole?
No, another person that met him through...
Yeah.
He wanted to take advantage of.
He said the same thing. Almost just kind of like an MO of, he said he came to his house, like he met him on Grindr and was like, to come over, whatever. He came over, he beat him up, left him for dead, and stole all of his stuff.
Wow.
And so he told Open Secrets that he staged the scene. He staged it to look like a rough sex act gone wrong. That's what he told her. And yeah, I mean, I don't understand why they refuse to acknowledge Ray. I don't understand why he refuses. And he's very, like even Dave Bangert, the reporter that called him for comment, he was very rude to him as well. And just like almost backed up what he said to Miss Dottie. Like, who says that? Who says, well, with the lifestyle your son led, something like this was bound to happen? Like, because of what you do in the bedroom or what they biasly presume you do in your life, which was not Ray, you deserve, like, oh, well, like, but that's not what happened. And because they didn't investigate it properly, they went in with a bias. That's my opinion. They went in with a bias, in my opinion, and they didn't do it the right way. And now I don't think they have a case. And the reason, that's why I believe that they are not going to do anything unless we force their hand, go above their head, or something. We have a petition for Ray. I think we're at about 900 signatures. Reynolds only has like, I think the population was 3,000 people. You know, it's not big at all. It's very rural. And so, you know, we're just hoping to get them, you know, and that's the thing. It's like, why wouldn't he? If he has a complete confession, because the thing is with Garrett, he is a narcissist. I would say psychopath, which I do think he would qualify, but I think that term's thrown around and I don't have any business throwing it around. But he definitely has the characteristics. He's an animal abuser. This kid's history goes way back, and everything is everybody else's fault. So,
yeah, it sounds like a narcissist to me. And abusing animals is a sign of psychopathy. So,
yeah, you should see. Holly the horse made the news, and it was a huge thing here in Indiana, and his dad did time for it. But this horse,
what's that about?
Just it's a horse that they just left for dead. If you ever been around horses or know anything about horses, like these horses, like he has videos with them and they cower from him. When he first gets them, because it's like a chronological order, these horses are beautiful. There's light in their eyes. These aren't the type of horses that you're getting from like some Sahara, you know, they're not like Arabian crazy horses. They don't need to be broken. And that's what he did. He broke horses. He was a horse breaker of spirit. And that's not how you treat horses. Yeah. But yeah, Holly the horse, there's a Facebook page where it might still be active. But somehow like the whole tri-counties everywhere gathered, everybody put money together. They supported the person that was trying to heal her, and it worked. And they brought her back from basically death. Like she would have been put down if it wasn't for good people. And I'm sorry, I get so upset about animal abuse.
Oh yeah, me too.
He had a couple dogs. I have spoken to a family member of his, so I've gotten a lot of real deep, just disturbing stories about that guy.
So I'm kind of jumping in, guys, so I don't exactly know where we were, but what can we do, we being not just me and Chris, but everyone in chat, to help move this forward and help Ray get some justice? I mean, are we thinking petitions? Are we thinking...
We have one.
Let's link it below so everyone can go.
We have one. It's in that email, that real long email.
Oh, was it? I didn't see that part. I'm sorry. Okay, what else are we thinking? I want to be thorough. What's everything we can do to... What's that?
Oh, I saw a comment and I was just like, absolutely. Anyway, sorry. I get distracted. But I was going to play that clip from
please.
UFF.
Yeah. Yeah, and I will absolutely link that.
Can you hear it?
In the head, like you couldn't have just left it like a ex-girlfriend fight. No, y'all pushed it that much further. You could have just been like, no, he's mine. Y'all pulled some hair, got out the way.
Well, Nicole was she had messaged her sister. She was gonna tell about the murder of Ray, so she had to go.
Which, from what I understand, that happened during a 2-week. I mean, I ended up getting the full rundown on that. It's really,
isn't it? That. I know.
Did he tell you like the whole how he played stalker and creep through Grindr and everything?
Insane! It's a freaking movie. Is it not?
It's more than just a movie. It's evil to make a profile and hunt them down just to. Oh man!
Yeah, told me all of it.
Yeah.
Okay. And for anyone just joining, can you explain exactly what that was? Because people come in and out all the time.
Yeah, that was Christopher Mathis, who is he's involved with Nicole Bowen's case. He was one of the 5 in that. And along with Garrett Kirts and Ashley Garth, Jasmine Parker, Talitha Beckley. And they murdered Nicole a month after. And he is saying about what was done to Ray. Does the make a profile on Grindr and hunt him. Did you catch that word though? Hunt them down. That word really angers me, just because of what I think that he means by that. And with the other person that he did do this to, I think that Garrett is possibly gay. And I think that in growing up in rural Indiana, you have that, me and CJ have talked about that before, that ego dystonic sexual orientation. And I think that might have played a role with Ray. But I think that, you hate what you are sometimes. I'm just speculating on that. But yeah, and that's the thing with what she claims that she has. And I begged her, please do not release that. Do not release his confession for Ray. If you do in fact have it, please give that to the prosecutors. She thinks that they can just come to her YouTube and get it. But she should, well, by law, she should be giving it to him, or she could be hindering an investigation. But they also could subpoena that from the Newton County Jail. Those are all recorded, and there's just nothing there. That it just breaks my heart that here. And then that's the thing is, so he strangles Ashley Garth in January. They all had warrants out for their arrest at the time of. Some of them had warrants for both murders, but most of them had they had warrants out, multiple warrants. They kept going in, bonding out, just over and over and over. And so he's murdered on March 13th. Then Nicole is murdered on March 29th. And that's the thing. If they had it investigated, it wouldn't have taken the rocket science to investigate that. You got a cell phone with a girl's name on it. Like, her murder may have been preventable. And the thing that we've heard from the family, and they've heard from the investigators, and I trust Cheryl wholeheartedly, that Nicole was there at some point. He threw a party, that's obvious, in Ray's home. So that he threatened her on Facebook on March 25th. He said, "Concrete shoes, bitch, F around and find out."
Wow.
I think her response was point taken, LMFAO. Then she texted her sister and said, "I'm in trouble. I need help." Her sister thought that was due to drugs or other lifestyle things. But in hindsight is always 2020. She called her aunt on the 28th, which is the night that they took her to the trailer in Newton County to kill her, it's premeditated. They're charged. Ashley Garth is charged with premeditated murder. Garrett is awaiting sentencing on that case. He has already pled guilty. He will receive a measly sentence. That's just the way it goes in Indiana, it seems. But, he killed Nicole by strangling her. He strangled her until she passed out, and then he didn't want her to wake up. They didn't want her to wake up. So Ashley Garth proceeds to hand him, a scarf, a electric cord, which he broke on her neck. They taped a bag over her head and then wrapped her in a construction carpet, movie carpet, and put her body in a shack. Makes me mad, and I think that's one of the things that connected him over to that Delphi. It's not a shack because of Carter's press conference where he alluded to a shack. Everybody kind of jumped on that with Garrett Kirts because Nicole was found in a shack. And so they thought that had something to do with Delphi, that he had something to do with Delphi because of that comment. Well, it's not a shack. It is a hunting, like a, what are those things called? It like construction sites.
Like a
Shipping container.
container.
Yeah, it's a shipping container. It's dilapidated, and he says he put her in there because he knew she would be found, which it's just a bold-faced lie. There's no way that he thought
Just
she
leave her outside if he wanted her to be found.
Yeah, like he didn't care. He drove away, did all of this in her own car, and that's how he was caught for her murder. Was idiot. Went to sell it and then wrecked it into a cornfield, and the police chase was hilarious. Like, it was like the dumbest police chase ever. They were like, they had to have been like, what the hell is this dude doing? Like, where is he gonna go? It was so silly. But yeah, they were all caught within, I think, 15 days of her murder. And they've been in the Newton County Jail until Christopher Mathis was released on time served for his role. And then he immediately, like, I don't think it's 6 days later, he was right back in for selling drugs to someone in the jail. So he got charged with like trafficking to a prison inmate.
He doesn't learn his lesson, that's for sure.
No, they don't.
When you say they, what do you mean? Like Garrett and his friends, or what do you mean by they?
Her murder was, and that's another thing is the papers say that the suspects, the alleged, perpetrators for Nicole, are cooperating with the investigation of Ray. That to me implies that some of them were there. Then we've heard nothing since, but it was Talitha Beckley, Garrett Kirts, Ashley Garth, Jasmine Parker, and Christopher Mathis. The four of them, the three girls and Garrett, were the ones that were at Jasmine's trailer. Jasmine says she was hiding in the bathroom. No way I believe that. And then Talitha, who knows where she was. I mean, they're all career criminals. They're all, addicted to drugs. It's just really sad. You can listen to that podcast episode where I anally go through their Facebooks, because Facebook is so revealing to people, even if it's just memes. Like, you learn so much.
Yeah, you do.
So much about a person, and they shared all.
Oh, cool.
Nicole and her were fighting on Facebook, and that's what they at first claimed was the reason why she had to go, because she was the rival. But then at his sentencing hearing, he pulled a fast one, and it was strange because at first he had told Open Secrets that they killed Nicole because she was going to tell about Ray, which was what we had all suspected all along. And then when he got there, he said that they had to kill her because of this Jason Palladino. He's been named in the paper as a potential suspect. So I don't mind naming this delinquent's name. Oh my God. Delphi, another Delphi one. And that she was going to tell on them for dealing meth, which doesn't make any sense because Nicole did have a drug problem. She was struggling with a drug problem. She was trying to get help. But I have family that are hooked on drugs, and I know how hard that struggle is to try. You slip, you try again. I mean, it's a constant battle the rest of your life.
Yeah. But
that's the picture on Ray's petition. I would love it if everybody would sign that for us. His family needs that. They're such good people and they're so deserving. And Ray.
Yeah, so I want to make sure I get all the links that I missed here. So we got Ray's petition. We have your podcast.
Right. I do want to explain Ray as well. Ray was a very heavy man, and I have gotten emails about this, which they make me mad. No, he had bypass. And so when people see some pictures of Ray, I've gotten comments about that. Well, what's wrong with it? You know, was he on drugs? Gotten 4. And it's no. When you are extremely heavy and you lose weight, you have loose skin.
Yeah.
And it has nothing. Ray was not a drug addict.
Right.
Ray had bypass. Ray had some, you know, he'd had that done, and he was so in love with his life. He felt horrible in his skin when he was heavy.
Right.
And this was like his time in life. And, you know, and that's the thing. He was just
making up for. Yeah.
Yes.
Transformation.
Yes. And he had, and I mean, you can see in the pictures of just like what happens when I have a friend that had a bypass, and we've talked about those kinds of things and what that does to your body and how you have to kind of like really work with the skin issues.
He looked very happy in all the pictures
right.
Like looking right there.
Too, and he is a hoot. I took my sweatshirt off because it was like my husband's, and it says like pipe is our life, and I was like, you know what though, Ray would have loved that. he would have thought that was a hoot. But yeah, I think the best way to help is just to sign that petition. It has all of the contact information for every single I guess it's Todd Rokita now as our attorney general, and Eric Holcomb is, you know, email them, call them, bug the hell out of them all. Robert Guy's information is in there, but sign that petition and we are hoping to start doing some protesting, like I don't really know how to do that. I think some other people that are involved do, in front of the courthouse there, and just literally anything. We need I think they have a case for, you know, at least a wrongful death suit. I don't know if time is expired on that, but in the beginning, I mean, and I still do feel that they have a case against the state of Indiana, for what has happened to Ray. And they don't, you know, this isn't a family that is loaded. They don't have the money to hire an expensive lawyer. We need an advocate. We need an advocacy group. I think it was a hate crime as well. And because I think he was targeted because he was gay, you know, and that is a hate crime.
Yeah. It seems like that could be possible for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's alleged. It's just my thought on it. It's the family's thoughts on it. Some of them. But yeah, it's just very disheartening to see. We think we've come so far and like progressed so far as a society and more open and accepting, you know, but then things like this come along, and the judgments that those, you know, just that, oh, well, you know, like if you're and his friend had said, you know, it doesn't matter what happened in Ray's bedroom. It doesn't matter that he was gay. It doesn't matter, you know, anything. My friend, what matters is my friend Ray Hanish was murdered. That's we were talking about victim blaming, and he didn't deserve to be. That's what he said. You know, my friend was murdered, and he did not deserve to be that. He did not deserve to be killed.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't, you know.
I do have a question. Do you have the toxicology on him? Did they perform that?
Mm-hmm.
So if they say maybe, oh, he was partying or it was an overdose, you could tell through the toxicology.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's I am not like a toxicologist or like a reader of toxicology, and I would love to have someone that is to take a look at that. I feel that what was shared was made to look like that, but when you really get down to the nitty-gritty of those numbers, they don't make sense.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of the death certificate and things like that now, and
yeah, I pointed at everything that was like pretty
yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Yeah, all everything pointed.
How does that happen? How does that happen, guys?
I don't know, but it says asphyxia due to ligature strangulation. Was an autopsy performed? Yes. Were autopsy finding available to complete the cause of death? Yes. September 6, 2019.
Okay, well, that's when it was resubmitted after the killer confessed. Before that, it said natural causes. Now, an autopsy isn't going to change. The autopsy didn't change. And so, but the death certificate still said that he died of natural causes. So to me, that looks like a blatant lie. And when the family talked to the coroner, he was like, yeah, I didn't know what to put. I asked the prosecutor what to put, and he told me.
That's not how it works.
That's not how any of this works.
But when they put natural causes, what was his cause of death?
Natural causes. That's it.
But they usually put natural causes and then heart attack, you know? So there's a manner of cause of death.
I would have to like confirm with Miss Dottie, but I did what you did right there was like, well, what else? And it's like,
yeah, there has to be something else. Like either I choked or I had a heart attack or I had an aneurysm, you know, that's like the cause of death.
No, there was nothing else.
That's odd.
Now, you know, coroners, it's an elected position in most counties. They don't really have, it's kind of sad. It's kind of scary. They don't have much training at all. Now, he did have an autopsy by an ME that is not right there in White County, which I think he's, someone in the chat will know. I always get Fort Wayne and another town mixed up, but yeah, the autopsy was performed by a ME, which they have to be, but the coroner is the one that oversees the death scene and the time of death and those initial things, and he was there present for the autopsy as well. But yeah, I mean, it's just disturbing to me that death certificate and everything else.
Chris, can you take over for a couple minutes? Then one more issue with Toby, so it will kind of start leading us towards getting to be about an hour anyway. So, you know, we want to make sure that everyone gets out everything that's important. You know, Mel, I want to make sure we don't miss anything for the sake of thoroughness. I want to make sure Krista gets all the questions. So you guys can kind of start that process, making sure we get everything important out there.
Yes, for sure. Okay,
thanks, guys. It's just sorry for everyone. My dog is acting really weird. Just got to make sure he's okay. Just give me one more second.
Yeah, poor Toby. Okay, I have another question. Where was he found in his house? He lived at a house or apartment?
It was kind of a duplex.
A duplex.
Yeah.
Where was he found?
Where?
In what location of the house?
In his bedroom.
In his bedroom. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it seems to me like there were multiple people there, and there was some sort of party. So it's just kind of like, I wonder where he was located. To maybe the killer could have invited people and then not see him, maybe just close the door, or was everyone involved? Like, I'm just curious.
There's been I believe it just from some of the other crazy things that I have been able to confirm. Yeah. But as because Newton County, it's a jail, and so you go in, you bond right out. Well, they're in there just bragging and talking and telling other inmates what went on. Like, they're proud of this. You should see them. You should have seen them in court. Disgusting. They have no. They showed no mercy to Nicole's family that are like, this courtroom is tiny. I mean, you could reach out your hand and freaking touch them, like where you're so close to these assholes.
I would have touched them more.
I'm sorry if I'm like cussing and he doesn't. Sorry. But like, they smirk, they laugh, they talk. They're so disrespectful. Ashley Garth, actually, I was stunned. When she ended up being charged with murder and conspiracy to commit murder for killing Nicole Bowen, she acted a fool. I mean, it was the biggest ridiculous scene. I mean, she was like, and just ridiculous. They had to give her a tissue box. And so the judge is like trying to explain to her, he has to do that, explain to her charges and what they could mean and what they could hold as far as the sentence. And she's doing this with Kleenexes and just ripping them out of this thing and just making a scene. And it was just so gross.
Were they all co-defendants in the same trial, or were there separate trials?
Well, there hasn't been a trial one yet. They've all had pleas. So,
but they were all together.
Yeah, they like in court. They all come in together, and the only time that any of them showed any emotion was Christopher Mathis was there when Ashley Garth was charged with murder, and he teared up for her. That's it. The next time we go, she comes in with her hair braided on the side. She's got this big, she is just the shit. And she walks in and then she turned, so we're sitting on, here's the courtroom, and we're sitting here, and she's sitting right here. So she takes her chair and she goes like this and just stares at Cheryl and does one of those, I'm a bad bee, of so you know what's coming. And guess what came that day that she knew about? She got bond on murder. She got a bond with no conditions.
What?
Yeah, a $5,000 one at that.
But wow, is she in prison now?
No, she's out. She's out until she's sentenced. Yeah, it's crazy. And I was like, oh my God, I have been literally calling her every name in the book, and I can't stand her, and I don't hold that back on my podcast.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, she's out? Ooh, that's kind of creepy.
Of the 4 people, who's in jail?
All of the rest of them are incarcerated except for Ashley Garth. She's out on bond. But the sad thing is they let her out. You can do that in the state of Indiana. You have you can call him. There is no bond on murder unless you call a meaningful bond hearing, and the prosecutor has to decide: do I want to give my whole case at this bond hearing, or do I want to give them a bond? I don't know why he needed to go with a $5,000 one.
$5,000. That's.
Yeah, and no conditions, no monitoring. She's just out, and the horrible thing is she lives maybe 10 to 15 minutes from Cheryl and Mark and Nicole's 2 little boys, who are the most and Corbin is so smart, and that was one of the sad things is they heard. The radio came out and said they had found a body in Newton County, and he was like, "Grandma, do you think that's my mom?" Just out of the blue, do you think that's my mommy? She was like, "Why would you know? That's not your mommy. Where'd that come from?" And the police showed up to their house that night. just it was his mommy and she had to tell them, and they let her out and they live like 10 minutes away. Like,
That's
the
scary.
victims' families go through hell. My friends and I, we have a little Zoom crime group with this whole COVID thing. I think a lot of people do. And, we look at those kind of cases and it's just like every 4 years, this one family we were just looking at for 40 years now, they have had to go to keep this monster that brutally murdered their daughter from being able to parole out. That is can you even imagine these perpetrators have, I understand the Constitution, I understand, legislation and the protection of your rights, and I stand by those. But at what point do we protect the victims' families and not keep putting them through this? It's awful. I mean, poor Cheryl, and Dottie too. Dottie can't go anymore because of COVID. No one can except for Cheryl, but literally I was going to a bunch of these hearings and it's all the time because there's 5 of them. It's crazy. But yeah, they're just desperate to have Ray's, and that's the thing is another one of Ray's, we'll end with that, Ray's About Me had said, injustice makes him crazy, and it does me too. And he would have fought for anyone else that was in a position that he ended up in this unfortunate event of meeting this jerk at Kirts. And that's what we have to do for him. And enough people need to get just enraged at the failures to Ray and his family. And we have to work together and make something happen. If we get the right organizations in here, that county's gonna wish that they had done something.
Yeah, we need to get people signing the right things, calling the right people, and everything we can. If you have any more ideas in the chat, please let us know. To everyone who's not familiar with the channel, I apologize. I had to get up a couple times. My dog is 17 years old, very sick, so he's going in and out he's doing well. Then all of a sudden, earlier he was just kind of violently shaking, which happens. And so I gave him a little medicine and he seems to be better now. So I do apologize for that, but that's why I'm getting up in a couple of times. But he's better now. But yeah, I mean, anything we can do, I'm kind of, see, the thing is I've been sitting here throughout this and just besides the petition and besides the petition, I'm just trying to think what else can we do from a legal sense. And it's just these things are tricky because you feel like you're blocked in some senses,
Yeah.
It stinks when it feels like the system's siding with the bad guy,
Right. And I think the best thing that they would help them the most would be a team that comes on pro bono. I know that exists. We actually had one reach out to us in the past, and then a lawyer that doesn't even do this kind of criminal law just told Miss Dottie oh well, you're never gonna win that, and he was yeah, don't even try it. I was so upset by that because this isn't even what you do you as a lawyer. You have no right to tell her that. You haven't even opened up a paper. You haven't looked at anything of what has happened. And to tell her that, that made me really upset. And to say it's too expensive. There are people out there that will take this case pro bono if we can just find them. I know it.
Yeah, so please, guys, if you know anyone that might, that's what we're doing this for, trying to get this in the front of the right people, in the right hands. Please, if you know a lawyer or know someone who knows a lawyer or just any ideas, guys, please come forward. This case is obviously a little different than some of the other ones. It's not a missing persons or something like that, but that we're doing this to try to get someone who can do something to offer
Right.
their services. So please.
Yes.
And besides I know you don't care much about your podcast, but I would like to link it there just to help, just to help out. I love to do stuff like that, and you do a great job, so you deserve it.
Thank you.
So I will do that. But on top of that, in the petition, is there anything else that we're going to link? Just want to make sure I get it in there as soon as possible.
Ray's Facebook group.
Okay, what's the actual name of that?
Oh Lord, I'll have to pull it up because it's really long. I've tried to get them to change it, but I don't think they know how.
Even the first 4 or 5 words probably will be enough.
Yeah.
Then I can.
Justice for Ray Hanish / murder ? In Reynolds, comma,
Wow.
by Garrett Kirts.
Okay. Yeah, the Justice for Ray Hanish. I think once I type that, it'll probably come up. Okay, so the Facebook group, your podcast, and the petition. Okay, those would be the most important ones. Is there anything that you came into this wanting to make sure that you did say or get out there that we didn't think to cover?
I'm sure I will later. I think we, I think we got it, the gist of it. Share. Oh, she says there is a GoFundMe, so we can afford an attorney to bring on charges against the state. I forgot about the GoFundMe. They have one. Yeah.
Okay. GoFundMe for Ray.
Mm-hmm.
And I might not be able to get it as soon as we finish. Sometimes I can, but sometimes I think it's processing or whatever, the video. So I don't know. But worst case scenario would be by the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple people asking about the GoFundMe. Okay.
Yeah, and then if you don't mind, CJ at Rainbow Crimes, she did a really good episode on Ray as well. She's a lot more she's a amazing writer, and so hers is short and sweet for people. If people want the really anal, ding ding ding, just really. Then mine is about, I think it's 6 episodes on both cases. There's tons of interviews with all of the family members, friends, nieces, nephews. I mean, they really poured their heart into that podcast, and so go hear their voice because. They're beautiful people. And then CJ just really did a good job. And then we did do a get vocal for him as well. It's just been hard to get coverage for this. So thank you guys so much. Really, thank you.
Oh no, absolutely. I love to do this. I'd like to keep a little bit of a balance to do some bigger ones. But I try to keep it maybe 1 to 10 for every one big case I cover. Try to get 5 to 10 smaller guys. And that's actually when I started the channel. I didn't know I'd be doing interviews at first, to be honest with you. I thought I would just be doing kind of like most YouTubers do, where they just kind of tell the story kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But what happened is I'd get a lot of comments oh, you got this detail wrong, you got that detail wrong. With the bigger cases, I was oh my God, what if I get a really bad detail wrong? So then I just thought one day, let me ask if anyone wants to be interviewed. I got one, and it just kind of snowballed from there. Right. But I love, I'm sorry, the point I was trying to make was that I love doing this kind of stuff. The people who can't find anyone else to help, or no one cares, or whatever. I love it.
That's what I do too. I, with the Shannon Polk, Dakota Kelly, Ray and Nicole, it's all the family. This is your podcast. This is your voice. You be for this. And, I wish I had done YouTube like you did, because it's easier to edit. It's really hard to edit on a podcast.
I am awful at editing. I'm awful. That's why I like this. I don't have to edit at all. It basically, I could, because once in a while you get someone that's oh, you weren't that professional in this episode. And it's you know what? That's not what I go for. I'm not about trying to be this super uptight professional. I keep it with me, it's we're a bunch of buddies talking. It's loose conversational. Everyone's just kind of talking, hanging out, and telling your story and get it out there. I'm not trying to be Mr. I get everything perfect, and I'm not that kind of guy in my regular life, so I don't want to pretend to be that here.
Right. I think you do a great job, and
thank you. I think it's my style to be buddies hanging out versus super.
Yeah, and I think that
and Chris is amazing. She helps out. What is that?
The personability that you have with your guests. And I was in your chat one time, and I know it bothered Gray Hughes too, but it bothered me as well, of like someone, why are you looking all around? And it's like, go read an article by Mark Mason. Change your life. You just can't give all your F's away on stuff like that, because there are people in this world that just want to find some little thing.
They want to complain. They want to be bothered by something.
They just want to find one little thing, and that, and that's just the unfortunate thing of putting yourself out there in this. Right. But what you're doing for these families, like literally, I've seen you do sometimes 3 a day. Take care of yourself, though. Because
I always wear myself down. It's tough. Hard. Even 1 a day is very hard.
I become so invested. I was just talking with Cher about that, of like, I get so like worked up for them, and like Ray and Nicole. It's hard. It wears on you when you get really close with these families and their perspective. But it's the most important, giving them a voice to fight back.
Absolutely.
To take control. Because these killers in the system are the ones that have that control. And when you give these families that opportunity to take a little bit back, I saw that with Jason the other day. I saw that with Carrie. I've seen that with a lot of your guests. Like, they start to go up a little bit as they start. And that's just a sign of like, okay, when you come in like this and then you leave like, yes.
I got it out there. I did a good job. Yeah, everyone knows.
And you're so good at leading your guests and helping them when they struggle. So keep it up, dude. You're doing awesome. I love it.
Well, that's why I like to do it this way, because like you said, I feel like I am good at personable. So the whole like super uptight professional takes away from that, versus just like, hey, I'm just your friend. And it makes them comfortable in the same sense of like, what do I want to say? Like, I'm on their level versus as a friend, versus like I'm like a podcaster they have to worry about doing a good job with.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. There's a difference between someone that's like this and then this.
Yeah. I'm like, what's up, dude? And they're like, oh, this is what we're doing today. Okay.
But how that's intimidating, to where you're like under this pressure to give this perfect interview, when that intimidates so many families, and then they don't do it. I know with Shannon Polk's family and like Ray's family, they're very shy. And I hope that a lot of families like that start watching your show and seeing how comfortable it is, and just real talk, because these are real life things that have happened to them. I've had murder in my family, and I know what it's like to be on the other side of that. Yeah. And the victim blaming and the persecution of the families, it's just so sick. And I see it with the Delphi case so bad. Like the comments and and I think that's human nature. I think we see some atrocity like what happened in Delphi, and we think, oh, well, if it was, they shouldn't have been out there. What were their families thinking, letting them out there?
I hate when people say things like that. Don't you hate that, Chris?
Oh my God, I hate it.
All. Like 14-year-old
go out all the time, and I'm glad. Get outside. Get out of your phone. Exactly. They were not doing anything. They were doing the right thing. Like that area, like if you've ever, it's Mayberry. Delphi is literally like Mayberry. It's beautiful. The area is beautiful. Like, this is an unfortunate thing. They were in the wrong place at the wrong time, and they were murdered, and they didn't deserve to be. Yeah. And like the whole trend of all of these people in these groups, just tearing them apart. I was watching another show, and the dad of a murdered little girl, who's like, people just don't realize the pain that they cause when they attack and speculate.
Yeah. Absolutely. Real quick, I want to make sure this is a pretty good point to maybe want to consider if you do get an attorney to help out with things. Louise suggests getting maybe a gay man, and not to like discriminate, but they might totally understand things from a better perspective than a straight guy, I didn't even think of that. What do you think, Chris? That might be helpful, right? Getting a gay man.
Someone that's for LGBTQ rights.
Yeah, maybe it doesn't have to be gay himself, but maybe he at least is super into like that community.
That involves hate crimes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's where I reached out to a lot. It's just.
Oh, let me show you some more pictures.
We just, it hasn't worked. They haven't responded or something. I mean, I don't know. I think maybe getting this case out there, because literally, like, there's been only 2 articles published about Ray at all. But 2, that's it. I mean, they're really, really good. Dave Bangert is phenomenal. He retired though. So, but yeah, I mean, 2, that's it.
Yeah, this case is so crazy, and I'm very into true crime, and I had not heard of this.
Yeah, same here.
Before.
Right. So, and the fact it's like linked with other murders.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I was half asleep when I read this. Have you ever had like people call it like a brain fart or whatever, brain fuzz, whatever? Maybe that's a little more. But I was half asleep when she sent this to me because I had just done an interview and I kind of passed out for a little bit. I woke up. And so I'm reading her email and she's like, Garrett Kirts. And it was one of those things where I'm like, I know that name super well. And for like, it took me like a full minute. I'm like, wait. Garrett, why isn't it? I know that name. I couldn't think of it. And I'm like, why is that attached to this case? Like, I could sense like that's weird for that name to be in this case too, And, but yeah, it totally drew me in, like Chris says. And then once I kind of put it all together, I'm like, how is Garrett Kirts somehow involved in this? I've never even heard of the case. And then all this in it, like it was the same thing Chris said. It was so odd to me that I'd never even heard of this. And then I looked it up and this, like you say, there's only a couple things on it. And I'm like, oh, you get these once in a while. You're like, they're cases that they seem like there should be a lot of juice to it. Let's say like there should be a lot of things. Because you get the news people who are like, oh, what's the juicy story? Right. And like a case like this seems like it should have a lot to it that would interest them, but no one covers it. And you're like, what is going on?
And he killed 4 people. Like,
what do you say, Chris? Yeah, exactly, Chris. Yeah.
He killed 2 people and he confessed to this one.
It's like possible serial killer, possible hate crime, like all kinds of stuff, and no one's even looking at it.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I would love to get if you are interested, I would like to have Haley Kelly and Shannon Polk, her family, reach out to you if that's okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I take literally anybody as long as it's like a real case, of course. But I almost never. There's only been one person I ever turned down, and I'm on like 80 something interviews, and only once have I said no, and that's because it was a family that. One side would schedule the interview, then the other side would say, no, we're the real side. You can't talk to them, cancel. And after like 3 times of that, I said, guys, you guys got to work it out. I can't be involved in this. So other than that, as long as it's not like a warring family that draws me in and gets me involved, anything other than that, I'm all for it. You never have to wonder like, oh, I wonder if Jason will cover this. I'm all about it. And like you saw, I'll even do if it gets to where I'm so busy, I'll do a couple, 2, 3 in a day if I need to get something in. Yeah.
And if you ever need any help, and you get really, really big and you can hire researchers.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to do.
Yeah. No, I'll keep you in mind for sure. I got awesome
thumbnails. Like I love doing that. It's like my therapy.
Yeah.
But if you ever need any help, let me know.
All right, for sure.
So
well, you did absolutely amazing today. I know Ray's super proud of you. And I know Cher's super proud of you because she's saying it in the chat. And as well as everyone, I think CJ was that your friend's name. So, CJ. Yeah. Kirts is incarcerated for Nicole Bowen's death, but the prosecutor in Ray's County, Robert Guy, doesn't want to be bothered to extradite Kirts the 25 miles to his county to prosecute for Ray's death. That's sad. And I want to be clear: any names brought up today. It's all alleged. We make no hard accusations about anyone. That goes for myself, Crystal, any of our guests, Mel, anyone in the chat. Okay, there are no accusations being made here, guys. It's just simply people trying to piece together what they know to help out their loved ones. But we will end it there.
Well, it's nice meeting you guys.
It's great meeting you. If anything else develops, if we get anywhere in this, by all means, we'll come forward and we'll do another one.
Yeah, we'll do celebration episodes. Hopefully,
absolutely.
You'll have a whole nother other side of it where you're getting like those resolution stories.
Yeah, for sure. I started doing some of those, but I'd love to do more.
Right.
And we are doing Sunday. I want to go over one last thing for everyone because we've had some people complain. So we have channel members now, guys, and a couple of you have signed up, so thank you. But you've had people who aren't channel members complain and say like it's discrimination or whatever because so we are guys. In order to have channel memberships, I have to provide them something to incentivize them to join channel, to become a channel member. And in order to grow, you have to do things like this, guys. It's just a part of growing as a channel. But I want everyone to know the way I'm doing them, the live stream is for the channel members, guys. It's not that you're never going to be able to see it. It's just the live stream and participating in the live stream, it's for the members. Once it's done and it processes, everyone will be able to see it. So this Sunday, I'm doing my first member-only live stream. It is an update, like you say, Mel, on a case. And it's for Juan Santiago, who recently was found deceased. We are having his sister back on. We did previously interview her. So she will be coming on. So the live streams for channel members, but you'll be able to see it shortly after. So everyone will still be able to see everything, guys. We're not.
I have a question on that. What? Because I read one of your things on YouTube, so I just wanted to clarify it too, because I bet the chat will wonder.
Yeah.
Is it all live streams will be members only?
No.
One a week, right?
One a week, and it's not. So to be clear, I'm not like taking one a week away from people. I'm just going to add some extra stuff in. It's never going to be like an interview or something. Do you know what I mean? I'm never going to be like, oh, your case is going to be members only, because that's not doing a service to the people I'm interviewing. I want to get as many eyes as possible. It's just going to be extra stuff like, oh, maybe this new detail came out on a case and we can talk about it. So the members will get the live stream, and then within 24 hours everyone can see it. Mm-hmm. That's all.
Yeah, thanks for.
Don't give him a hard time, because like you guys, I know I was on the other side of this not too long ago. I just started doing this during COVID, and it is a ton of work. And it is hard to do. It's expensive. You pay for all, like, so many things I pay, monthly that like, $4.99 or however the memberships are to like support something that you're listening to and you're helping and you're involved in and you're working as a team to support these families. Like, this is, like, it's important work, and giving a few dollars is the least I can do. And I don't feel bad about that. I know what it's like on this side of it, and I know what's like on that side of it. And it's a lot. It's a lot of work. It's a lot.
People don't realize it's like 10 to 16 hours a day. But when you count like the advertising and the researching and everything, but I arrange it in a way that you get a little bit more as a member, but you're not really missing out. As a non-member, the only thing you're missing out on is you're not going to be in the live stream while it's live, but you still can watch it, But that's all. And then there's like a Discord and stuff like that. That's extra, but I'll go over all that again with everyone. But
well, I'm going to become a member.
Oh, cool. Yeah, and there's no pressure to anybody. Don't feel pressure. But yeah, anyone who wants to, just click the join button below. And if you want to help out the channel, but you don't want to do monthly memberships because the membership is monthly, there's always the PayPal link, which is in the description of most videos, paypal.me/JasonEbert1. So there's a lot of ways to support the channel, but you never have to, guys. Never feel like you're obligated to. It's just an option. The more you do this and the more you grow, guys, you come to a fork in the road where you're like, all right, either I'm going to do this less because I have to work a regular job and this takes so much time, or I have to set this up in a way that it supports itself. You have to do one or the other. There's no way around it. So
yeah, and I had to go the other way.
Like you have to just kind of say, let me put it off for a little bit. So I
can't. I haven't uploaded to the podcast in forever, and it's just because I have to make money. I got to make money so that I can do it.
I was there for a while too. I was uploading every day. And what people don't realize, I had some money saved. I had like $5,000 saved. For the first 2 months I was doing this, I was living off that money. And I said, well, let me just put every day into the podcast. Let me see what I can do, how I can grow it. Maybe I'll get it to where it supports itself. I
Right.
blew through that money and then had to go back to work. That's why I went from doing it every
Wow.
day to doing it every once or twice a week. So not only did I not make money, I'm like thousands in the hole doing this. So anyone who thinks I'm in this for the money, believe me, I'm not. I
Yeah.
lost a lot of money doing the way I did it. So, but either
I
way, it's
know,
not
I
about
hear
money.
ya.
Let's get these families the help they need.
That's
But all right,
right.
guys, we're about to be at the hour and a half marks. I will finish it there. Thank you so much, Mel and Chris. Thank you for joining us. You both were
Thank you.
amazing, and you're both lovely. And I hope to
You
see you
guys-
again very shortly. A thumbs up to everybody.
Bye.
Like, subscribe.
Like,
And,
subscribe.
have a great
Night,
night,
all.
everyone. Good
Good
night,
night.
everyone. Thanks, guys. Have a great night. Thanks.